Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and today we're continuing on with our beginner gardening series, and this is video number 9, how to choose healthy plants at big box stores. And if you're enjoying this series and you want to keep following along, there are 14 videos in this series. There is a link at the end of this video to that playlist of videos. I started this at the beginning of January, and I should be wrapping up video number 14 about mid to late February. Okay, so I've really enjoyed this series so far, and we're getting to the point where, in theory, you're going to be getting to look at buying plants, which is literally the most fun part of gardening. I love buying plants. Buying plants can be intimidating though, especially at big box stores. And when I say big box stores, I mean Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, those kind of stores. So today I'm showing you exactly how to spot healthy plants, avoid common mistakes, and feel confident shopping without overspending. I want to say big box stores, we're specifically talking about those. If you go to a smaller private nursery, those are going to be a different situation because you can walk into a nursery, a local nursery, and go and ask for help right away. And there's lots of people who are going to be willing to help you and give you lots of knowledge. That's why I typically like to start at small nurseries. However, I live in a bigger area. I have more options, and there's a lot of beginner gardeners who do not have more options, and big box stores are their only options. Typically, big box stores are not going to have full-time gardeners who are going to be there to answer your questions. That's why a lot of times you're on your own when you're at a big box store. So topics we're going to be covering today is ignore the blooms, look at the plant, check for pests, root health matters, size isn't everything, clearance plants when they're worth it, and timing your purchase. Okay, so starting with number 1, ignore the blooms, look at the plant. Flowers fade, all right, they fade. Roots and leaves tell the real story. And it's easy to walk into a place and be like, oh my gosh, that plant is the prettiest, look at its flowers, it's gorgeous. Well, those flowers aren't going to be there forever. What you really need to focus on is the real foundation of the plant. So what we're trying to learn today is we're trying to learn and look for healthy signs of a good plant. You're going to be looking for firm stems. The stems should not feel mushy, soft, soggy, anything like that. Nice, beautiful, firm stems. New growth. You're going to be looking for new growth, which is incredibly important because you're going to see all these big, beautiful flowers, but you want to dig down to the base. You want to look throughout the plant. And if you're continuing to see new growth, not just those flowers you saw, new leaves, new buds coming along, that is a healthy plant. And you're looking for even leaf color. You're looking to make sure that leaves don't have browning or yellowing on the edges or veining that doesn't look good. Typically, if it's like a lighter leaf, but its veins are really dark green, it most likely has an iron deficiency. So you really want to look that those leaves are a nice, consistent, beautiful color, and that is going to lead you to a healthy plant. So things and signs that we want to avoid when buying a new plant. Wilting. If you're seeing a lot of wilting, that means most likely it has not been watered consistently. It might be carrying disease, and therefore the plant probably has a lot of stress already. That's not a good one to get. Go ahead and pass on it. Lots of yellowing on the plant. Leaves that are yellow, dying, distressed, struggling. We do not want those kind of situations, so leave that plant behind. And spots. Typically, if you're seeing spots, unless the plant is supposed to have spots, there are some plants that just have a naturally spotted leaves. But most of the time when you see spots on the leaves, on the blooms, on the stems, that is a big hard no. It means disease and it means pest, and you don't want to bring that into your garden. The big takeaway on this is don't be fooled by the beautiful flowers. Look beyond the flowers. Look at the leaves, the soil, the roots, all the other aspects of the plant to make sure it's a great healthy plant, not just a pretty one. Okay, number 2 on our list is check for pests. You do not want to bring problems home to your garden. all right? And that can be a problem. It can be a consistent problem pretty much at any nursery. So you really want to pay attention, and you really want to look at these flowers and these plants to make sure that you're not bringing anything home. So what we're looking at, we want to look under the leaves of the plants. Flip the leaves on the other side, look underneath, pull that plant up, look all underneath. That's where a lot of pests like to hide, because they're hidden, you don't notice them. A lot of times they might be green, the same color as the leaf. So really take your time and look carefully under the leaves. You want to check the soil surface. Is there anything crawling around? Is there a ton of fungus gnats? Do you see something that doesn't look quite right? Check that soil level and check it out and see if there's anything going on. For checking the soil, check it before you pick the plant up. As soon as you pick up that container, pests run and disperse themselves in the soil. They go to hide. So before you pick the plant up, get down close to the soil surface and really kind of look around and observe for a few seconds, maybe a minute, and see if you see anything moving prior to picking it up. Because as soon as you pick it up, all those pests are going to go and hide. Avoid plants with webbing or sticky residue on them. Quite frequently, that is a secretion from some kind of insect or pest, and it has left that damage behind. So anytime you see webs, anytime if you're like, that's a stickiness that shouldn't really necessarily be on this plant, that is definitely something that you want to stay away from. And finally, check the stems. Quite frequently, aphids like to hang out on the stems. So check the stems underneath the flowers, down the stems to the base, looking around to make sure that there's no additional pests hanging out in those areas. Okay, number 3 on my list is root health matters. Roots tell you if a plant can recover. And I think that this is an area that it took me a lot of years to start inspecting the roots of a plant. So what you want to learn, gently lift the pot if possible, lift up the pot and lift the plant out of the container. Flip it upside down. I like to basically pick up the container, run my fingers, thread them through the base of the stems, flip it upside down and pull the pot out like that. So we pull the pot, not the plant, and then it allows me an opportunity to look at the roots. So what do healthy roots even look like? All right, healthy roots are white or light colored typically, unless you have research and specifically those roots are supposed to be a particular color. But quite frequently they're going to be white or light colored. They're not going to be mushy. There's not going to be any stinky, smelly parts or mushy parts that look like it's rotting. Typically, the roots are going to be evenly dispersed throughout the pot. They're not going to be circling tightly within the pot. Typically, if you see the roots going around tightly in the center bottom of the pot, that is a root-bound plant, not the best choice for a beginner gardener. So what do you want to avoid when you're looking at the roots? You want to avoid roots that are circling tightly, just like we were talking about. That's a root-bound plant, and they're going to be a little bit harder to get started within your garden. You want to look for thick mats at the bottom that look like that plant has been in that container for a long time. Those thick mats mean that it's overgrown in that container and that it's already stressed and struggling. You're also going to be aware of any mushy, brown, decaying, anything that does not look good. Soil should just smell like soil. If it stinks, that's a problem and you don't want to bring that plant home. Okay, number 4 on my list is size isn't everything, especially in plant world. Bigger isn't better, healthier is best. That's what you really want. You want a healthier plant over the biggest plant. And I think that that can be quite confusing when you go to the store, because it's easy to fall in love with these big luscious plants covered in flowers. But if that's not a healthy plant, you're literally just throwing money out the window. So let's talk about smaller plants versus larger plants. So smaller plants establish faster, they adapt better. They're younger plants, they have not adapted completely to whatever that pot or location they've been. There's still tons of time to easily get them in the ground and allow them to continue establishing a beautiful root system. Smaller plants also allow you to dig smaller holes. And I'm smiling because I detest digging big holes. I do not enjoy that at all. I would much rather buy a smaller plant and wait 2 years for it to grow than to grow a big, than to dig a big hole. I dislike it very, very much. I also find that in my native soil with my clay soil, having smaller plants that I can dig into just the top 6 inches of my soil allows those plants to put down roots and adapt to the clay soil that's further down. And that works way better for me than starting with a larger plant. Now, larger plants tend to be a little more stressed. They most likely have been in that container for years, or they were dug up from their native environment where they had been growing for years, and they're not going to be able to establish as quickly as a smaller plant. Planting larger plants takes more time, more patience, and more energy. You're going to have to make sure you pay attention to them consistently so that they establish well. And in the end, smaller plants are less expensive than larger plants. So I quite frequently buy smaller plants. It just works best for me in the end. Okay, number 5 on my list is clearance plants when they're worth it. So some clearance plants are a steal, others are a gamble. I do not typically suggest doing clearance plants for beginner gardeners. You really have to put in a lot of observation for them. You really have to know what you're doing, when you're planting them, where to plant them. There's a lot involved. Typically, clearance plants are on clearance for a reason. All right, they're typically an older plant that is stressed. They're typically going out of season, meaning they're not going to last much longer. They typically have damage or they've been returned by someone else. So they've been in another garden that you're not aware of, and that can be a whole issue. There is a reason these are on clearance. So let's talk about what's worth buying. As long as you check and the roots are healthy, you're probably good, even if the foliage doesn't look real great on the top. Damage is typically cosmetic, and it typically is going to grow new stuff. I stay away from buying clearance annuals because they're not going to last much longer in that season. However, I don't mind buying clearance perennials. They don't typically look real good when you're buying them off the clearance plant, but off the clearance rack. But as long as those roots are nice and healthy, you can get it planted in the ground. It will establish roots, and then the next following season, you will have a beautiful plant. What to skip on the clearance rack? Skip if you see any disease present, if it smells weird, if it has spots, if it has potential pests, if something just doesn't seem right about it, go ahead and skip it. And if the roots are rotten, remember, turn it upside down, pull that pot up, look at those roots. If they're mushy, nasty smelling brown, you want to skip that container. I really feel like clearance plants are a gamble almost every time. It's not a gamble I suggest for beginner gardeners, but some people like a good deal, and I like a good deal every once in a while. I check the clearance rack all of the time. Every time I'm at somewhere like Lowe's, they have an excellent clearance selection. But I would say once out of every 10 times do I actually buy something off the clearance rack. I really don't usually buy off of it very often because usually the options are up there for a reason. They're on clearance for a reason, and they're reasons I don't want to bring them home. Okay, and number 6 on my list is timing your purchase, which is so important when you're shopping for plants. Shopping early in the week typically provides a better selection. So quite frequently when you are going out, especially to big box stores, they get overrun on the weekends. So quite frequently, if you can show up on Monday and Tuesday as they've restocked, you're going to get a better selection to choose from. And timing matters, not just during the day, or not just during the week, but during the day as well. Avoid stress plants late and hot days. I do not suggest going to buy your plants at the very end of a hot day in August because those guys have been dealing with the sun all day. Pick them up first thing in the morning after they've had all the evening with a slightly cooler temperature, well watered, in order to recover, and then bring them home and plant them once again early in the morning or later in the evening. I suggest not picking up the plants as they've been sitting out in hot sun for hours and hours and hours. Shopping mornings can be hard. I get it, totally get it. And if you have a 40-hour per week job and you can't get there until the weekend, that's okay. Hit it first thing on Saturday morning. Get up, go there, beat everybody to the punch, and get those plants while the selection's still there and before they go through the heat of the day. And then also on timing matters. When you are shopping for plants, buy plants that are appropriate to plant at that time of the year, all right? You don't want to go buy something like right now in January. We don't want to go buy pansies in Texas Zone 8. You plant those pansies outside, they're going to die, all right? You need to make sure that your timing also matters throughout the season. Are you planting things at an appropriate time? Okay, you don't need expensive plants to grow a beautiful garden. You just need to know what to look for. And I think that that's very important when you're going out and shopping. It's exciting and overwhelming anytime you go out shopping for plants. I quite frequently will fill my cart and then take a few minutes, step off to the side, Google and research what makes sense for my space. And that is incredibly important. Don't waste your money with a bunch of plants that aren't going to work for you. Don't waste your money with plants that have rotted roots. Don't waste your money on plants that are going to bring home pests and diseases. Take your time, observe each plant, and research what's going to work best for you. All right, and have fun, because plant shopping is the best. You do not have to buy everything at once when you go plant shopping. Work small portions of your garden at a time. If you want to focus on one in-ground section, really focus on one small portion of that in-ground section. Focus on a couple of containers or focus on a single raised bed. Don't try to buy everything for all at once, because remember, you're going to buy these plants and then you have to take them home and you have to plant them. And you do not want them sitting in those nursery containers for weeks on end at your space. So only buy enough for you to go home and plant it immediately. Trust me with this, thinking that, oh, I'll get to it in a few days, and then you don't, and then you lose all that money because those plants do not have the attention they needed while they were in those containers. All right, you all, I hope you guys are enjoying the beginner gardening series. Reminder that you can check out the whole playlist at the end of this video. And video number 10 on our list is bare root plants explained for beginners. We are at the time of the year where bare roots are going to be available at all the big box stores, lots of nurseries. And so I'm going to explain how you treat these, how you get these planted, and how they can save you a ton of money and create a beautiful garden. And if you're like me and you are on a gardening journey and you would like to do that with some gardening friends, be sure to check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It's a great group of people. We like to talk about gardening. If you decide to be a certified Mad Gardener, you get access to exclusive videos only available to patrons, lives, video chats, group chats, photo sharing, and direct messaging direct to me to ask any questions that you might have. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.